Good morning, everybody, and welcome. My name is Vicky Iozner, and I'm Trust President of the League of Women Voters of City of Standard. I would ask you to please mute or turn off your cell phones. You don't want to be embarrassed when your cell phone goes to really tough to stop it from making noise. This meeting is being recorded and will be available on YouTube. How many members of the league do we have there today? Oh, okay, great. And how many of you get the newsletter? Yes, and how many of you read the newsletter? And how many love the newsletter? That's great. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'd like to ask Mike Belkin, who's the Beverly Hills Civic Association president, to come up and lead us.
One religion, number five.
And two year Okay, thank you. An event like this takes a lot of planning to do. Many little details that need to be done, and I do not do them all. I have a wonderful team and I'm proud to be working with, and I would like to introduce the board members who are here. We have some members who could not be there because of situations beyond their control. Linda Abrams can't be here today, and Linda is our membership person, and Peg Palone is the second president, cannot be here. But we have Scott. Where did Scott go? Right here. There he is. Okay. Scott is up on 4 o'clock. Let's get going around like that. Did Beverly get here? No. Not yet. Okay. Beverly Brown. Maxine. I saw Maxine. Maxine Brown. If I'm going to want to know anything about the environment, Maxine is the person to go to. You might not understand it because everything is so technical. She knows everything about it. Dr. BJ Gazelle. Jan Hall. Rosemary Nilles. And Deborah Stager, our president. We have two new members. I don't know if they're here. Are Donna Leonard and Deborah Sagarese. Just want to acknowledge them. We have reminders on each of the sheets. It tells you about the meetings that we have coming up. It tells you about a Facebook page. How many of you could go to our Facebook page? Oh, now it's good. Now it's great information on you. And there are brochures there, so you can help yourself. If you didn't get them on the way in, you can get them on the way out. Yeah. Our August meeting is going to feature Attorney Denise Diamond Lane to speak about the judicial system. The candidates are invited to a meet and greet. That's Wednesday, August 14th at the Coastal Region Library. It's in an area. Our September meeting features the U.S. House of Representatives and State Senator and information on the amendments. Before I became a topic member in the week that then I started in 2014, I always check if the League of Women Voters to see what how and you just try to read the news. You just scratch your head and say, what are they saying? So this is really, that's the PowerPoint that the Florida leaders put out. That's Wednesday, September 11th at the Coastal Region Library at 10 a.m. I have a special presentation to give. You know, we walk on the shoulders of our sister If we're able to do something, it's because people before us helped us to do. And we have a special presentation today for our past president, Nancy Thomas. The League of Women Voters, look. The League of Women Voters of Citrus County recognizes past President Nancy Tomasello for the dedication to our organization, for leadership, and our hard work. Nancy, your commitment to our league, your attention to details, and the time that you have gave us is greatly appreciated. You've rendered distinguished service in the recognition of our league. We have presents for you. So much. Look at you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Nancy, we have for you the certificate which entitles you to a forever membership of the League of Women Voters. Thank you. And the card, and this is a collage that has you and the people that you work with.
Yes, so what are you asking?
Yes, so let me tell you when we go, but we put it up there so we can see. Can we please have a huge round of applause for me?
Say that being involved with the League of Women Voters has educated me in a million different ways. Being with the League of Women Voters has educated me in different ways. It gave me more than ideas. I'm very grateful for the experience and for the wonderful women that have worked with me and that I have worked with. And in the last 6 months, I'm saddened by the rate has grown. Owing to the wonderful women who do the work. And thank you for being here, and thank you for your influence.
When you're motivated by another leader, it certainly helps. I told you it's in one make her proud with what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're surprised.
We got it.
Those are where's that one there?
Oh, we're not going to do that.
I know, but I'm not going to do it. From finding the power numbers and then we got one number at a time.
Read numbers 1, 3, and 5.
1, 3, and 5 different districts.
Told you it would be random.
So first will be third district. Then will be the first district. And the third will be first. Okay. Good. Gosh. We're going to need just a quick minute to set up for this, but our guest speaker today is Rosemary Nilles. And Rosemary is our first vice president. And how long ago were you president?
I'm still waiting.
One of the things that, Virginia Davis is, I'm a big fan of hers. She wrote a book that says that she's diagnosed with ADHD just a few years ago. Oh, I know we had something stop myself, and I recognize. Rosemary is a retired public school special education teacher and administrative consultant. She is our education chair and our gun violence prevention chair. She's also active on a statewide education action team. She has co-authored many lead publication. And try to hold some of those brochures that has helped author part of the school board elections and voting for school board members. She writes frequent columns and letters of resignation, does safety and other relevant topics to the newspaper for the column. So it's not necessarily a bad thing because you take your ADHD and you put it to wonderful ways to get things done. She is going to talk to you about home rule versus preemption. And you might say, I'm not guessing anybody with these terms, but you might say, what's it mean? But you will know by the time you see it.
So you get me set up,
And you get to get
it's out of the way so I don't trip.
and get my stuff.
And the good news is I found my phone here. So, but it's all frantically looking.
All right, Liz, can you get the lights, please?
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I see that we're in a long dry place. So I'm glad to see so many here and interested in the developments around our county specifically. Vicki, I'm going to need a little bit of light. Thank you. So I'm sure you saw the title of this presentation was called Florida's Standing Preemption Laws. I take responsibility. That's a lousy title. Surely you should have done better than that. You didn't come here to be boring. You're the candidates. So I thought maybe the title could be jazzed up a little. So hold the breath. Here comes the new, bigger, better, title based presentation. Vicki's going to bring it on in a minute. Now, has anybody seen on Facebook? They posted that I changed the title yesterday. Did anybody see it? Because look here, has valuable prizes for you if you can tell us what's the new title, Ms. Daniels?
Preemption. I don't remember.
Yes, perfect. That's good. Okay, somebody else.
You be the judge.
You be the judge. Well,
Thank you.
well, the cheating. Oh, great. This is not an official legal presentation. And it's not in depth. You know, we're going to just skim the surface. But I thought it was important to bring all of this to you, the voters, because you hear about what's preemption. So if you have any questions after, we're not taking questions until the candidates have all introduced themselves. But you can approach me or Maxine afterwards. Now, I did do a lot of research for this, and that's why I haven't have my notes. So please forgive me.
Can you all see that?
Yeah. Not this way. Okay. Is there a way to turn down? Do you want the lights, but just wait it off for me? Okay. So let's keep going. Okay, that's fine. There's nothing that's can you guys see better? Okay. I am going to talk with you with if anybody would want a handout slides, I can send you that electronically at some point if you're emailing me. Okay. The way to talk about home rule versus preemption, third side is to start with a story, and this is a true story. From 2019 to 2022, heat-related death in Florida rose 87%. That's staggering. Doesn't necessarily mean that we had thousands, but isn't long. These deaths and injuries disproportionately impact the marginalized, the farm workers, the migrant workers, construction workers. Then in 2023, y'all remember this is hard to on her. So in July 2023, a farm worker died in South Miami-Dade finally culminated what they've been working on for a few years, and they drafted a local ordinance that would offer related protections to agriculture and construction workers who work outdoors. So this ordinance, their local ordinance, would require agriculture and construction companies to take steps to make sure that workers had a 10-minute break in the shade every 2 hours, to make sure they had access to water when the heat index was over 95, and to provide a mandatory heat safety training. The key was to save lives, and employers who violated this would face penalties. So the ordinance would have also created a partnership between employers and employers to teach everyone heat related exposure. So this has been in the works for years, but the death of the worker really brought it to a head. Now they did this specifically because there are no federal or state heat protection laws for outdoor workers. Now OSHA does issue some safety guidelines, but they're not law. So what Miami did and they did is an example of home rule, knowing what your county needs. Miami-Dade was the only county in Florida that had been concerned about such a heat protection ordinance. Now, unfortunately, industry groups and then the state filing HB 433 made this. It never happened. Okay. So in response, go back. Okay. In response, the legislature passed a long party lines. Governor DeSantis signed it effective last week, July 1st. It was controversial from the start, and the bill was a direct result of Miami-Dade's bill or their ordinance. So this new law grants local policies that ensure that outdoor agriculture or construction workers are protected in extreme heat. And the local governments, such as our local counties, the board of commissioners, you can still write ordinances for your employees who cities can't. But you can't write them for other employers within the town. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. The state and its political subdivisions can't surpass. It's mandated by our state and federal law, which is nothing. Even the state's own analysis of the bill acknowledged there are no specific laws. So, pros and cons. The proponents said, hey, it'll save taxpayers money. And businesses should decide the conditions and wages of workers. Opponents called it cruel. That's how you work. There's other parts of this bill. It's quite a big bill, but for the sake of time, let's just talk about heat protections. So a local municipality can't give a bid to an employee or contractor if that can't favor the contractors who might offer better heat protection. This is an example of home rule versus preemption. All I can say is you be the judge. Now, right now, it's a done deal in Florida, unless the legislature will change it next year. But the federal government is working on some guidelines, which we'll talk about later. Okay, so what's home rule? What's preemption? The words we're tossing around. What are some good examples in Florida? What happened? How does it impact us? What can voters do? So we're going to move quickly through this. I know you don't hear the mission of things. Okay, we can't understand home rule versus preemption without understanding the 3 levels of government. I know we have to go back to school for a minute, but I think we all need this. I need this. Each of the levels, federal, state, local, have distinct responsibilities. So for the federal, okay, some of the quick ones, only the federal government can regulate interstate and foreign commerce and declare war. We deal with foreign nations. The federal government makes treaties, gives foreign aid, sets taxes, spending, other national policies, citizenship, maintaining the army, currency, postal service, interstate highways, and different idea. Federal. State. They regulate agriculture, banking, consumer protection, education standards, environmental affairs, public health, insurance companies, national guard, state hunting licenses, unemployment, just to name a few. They go state highways, highway patrol, driver's license, motor vehicle registration. And just like the federal, the state has 3 branches. The legislative makes the laws. The judicial system adjudicates the laws and the executive signs the futures and puts them into action. Okay, so local governments are the public administration of towns, cities, counties, districts. We have in Florida 67 counties, 411 municipalities, 500 cities, towns, villages, just we have in Citrus, Inverness, and Crystal River. We're going to mostly focus on counties. The counties do the local services, the public safety, the fire and emergency service, fire and emergency medical, transportation, healthcare, such as Dr. BJ does, parks, libraries. They maintain the local justice system. They manage growth management. I can hear a lot about that. Land use, economic development, and of course, local governments develop school policies and operate schools. Now, the local government often has a far bigger impact on your life in my life than the full government. But yet, many people don't vote in local elections. After Monday night and seeing the interest, I think we have a good bit of interest here in Citrus. Now, so those yellow arrows, that was my attempt to make a pushing pull. There's always a pushing pull between what the federal versus the state government can do, state versus the local government can do. And that's good. That's not a bad thing. And some people might want to talk about federal versus state. No, we're not here for that today. We're here state and local. So what's home rule authority? Home rule is the concept that communities and our local leaders should make a decision that impact our community. Home rule gives counties and cities the flexibility to craft ordinances, laws specific to our unique needs. Now, home rule powers are already in the Florida Constitution. They were put there over 50 years ago by the voters. This is what the voters wanted. Now, home rule allows cities and counties to adopt laws as well as a lot of conflicting rules with the state and federal can't be ruled. Florida Association of Counties, Florida League of Cities support home rule because counties know their needs stuff and cities. Ordinances may be locally and specific. Then a separate if the state laws are rights, like they were in Miami-Dade, then local government may want to build in protections for its citizens. If the state's at a good standard, great. Local government needs to be supported, can't lower. Okay, what's preemption? Preemption occurs when a higher level of government, such as the state government, restricts or withdraws the authority of a local level of government, such as the community commission, to act on a particular issue. Preemption is not random. It's important you say and set the bar. Traditionally, preemption has been used to make sure of consistency of rights in the state or uniform regulation, protect against conflicts between counties, cities. In general, preemption has been used to create well-being for the resident, create equity within the communities, establish that minimum standards, the bar, and then local government can be bar. For example, state civil rights laws allow citizens to increase their protection, but they can't go on that standard. So traditional preemption has always emphasized that balance between cities and states. A lot of people believe that preemption should only be used for the health and welfare of citizens. But now it is being increasingly abused. It was being used to prohibit local governments from advanced policies that might address equity, public health, rural protection, climate change, so much more. And this is again not just Florida. Some say that preemption actually undermines the health of democracy and harms people. You be the judge. But what's happening is that states are limiting the authorities of localities, but they're not offering anything in exchange. Like I think we have until 2027 to come up with a heat protection law in Florida under this new law. So this concentrates power at the state level so that localities, the county commissioners, city councils, they have to rely on the state to enact policies that target their needs and desires. And that's people, when local governments want to do things to protect their citizens, but they can't address local issues because the state governments aren't offering any solution. Some people say that preemption is just the way to keep the status quo. Okay, so we've already talked about the heat protection. This, in my, and you can do something yourself, it's a dangerous preemption. The law specifically says the purpose is to preempt regulations of the state. Well, just in the past week, the Department of Labor, are stepping in to write rules because of the great number of heat-related deaths. But we talk push and pull, local, state, federal. So I'm going to give you just a couple of other ones to give you a flavor of what preemption looks like in Florida recently: energy, housing, public sleeping, term limits, and there's a couple that were signed into law, and Governor DeSantis vetoed them. They didn't pass. 20% of the bills stopped in Florida last year involved preemption. Okay. And Maxine is the expert on this. She's here somewhere. HB 1465 just came into effect. It's called an omnibus energy bill, and that means it covers everything but the kitchen sink and the garbage can. But it rolls back many regulations that existed in Florida. This is the same bill, you might have heard about this on the news, it's the term climate change for places in state law and places. But it actively prevents local governments and state agencies from taking action on the environment. And the one I wanted to talk to in particular about, maybe the most meaningful is this law, 1465, preempts local governments and state agencies from regulating the location of what are called resiliency facilities. Now, resiliency facilities, it's a fancy name for a place to store and distribute compressed gas and liquid natural gas. So we, in our counties and cities, can no longer regulate where they're allowed to be placed. These resiliency facilities, they're now permitted land use in Florida, in towns, county, and in places that they weren't allowed before. So, shopping center, restaurants, daycare centers. It also removes some of the power of local government and citizens to review and comment on where the gas pipelines go and how close they can be. So after July 1st, local governments can't change their zoning to outlaw this. So there's more to it. It's a huge bill. That's what's called omnibus. Okay, keeping going, just a few examples to give you a flavor of what I mean. HB 1470, last year, very controversial, kind of different. If you're a renter, you didn't like it. If you're a landlord, you might. It overrides at least 46 local tenant protection ordinances. Now, tenant protections are intended to promote housing stability, prevent harassment of renters, and actually to address homelessness, at least to work toward to eliminate. So they include tenants' bill of rights, rent savings, laws that strengthen the summons process and protect people whose source of income may not be as attractive to a landlord. Well, local municipalities in Florida saw this as a classic example of a future preemption because it handcuffed the local leaders in those 35 cities from making decisions about their housing needs and protecting tenants' rights. So again, there goes their cons. You can on both sides. Preemption of homelessness. Might have focused on the news too this year. HB 1365 unauthorized public camping and public sleeping. It comes into effect October 1st again. First seal. This prohibits homeless individuals, or any for that matter, from camping on city streets, sidewalks, parks. They have to be instead placed in temporary shelters monitored by law enforcement, so training needed there. And under the new law, counties such as ours or cities gives them the authority to come up with a space, a designated space for those experiencing homelessness. We have till October 1st to get it done. And that would be needed if our local homeless shelters reach their capacity. So it was possible for to have a homeless encampment, then we have to have the necessary behavioral treatment as a condition of power. And that will be overseen by the State Department of Children and Families for the first year. Now, if cities and counties don't designate a homeless area, they open themselves to litigation. So beginning in January, this law will allow residents, local business owners, the state attorney general, to stop any city or county that still allows homeless people to camp or sleep on public property. Pros and cons. Quality of life issues for residents who aren't homeless, visitors. Nobody really likes seeing homeless people, taxpayers, but the critics call it being on homelessness. They call it a loss of human dignity, and they say it doesn't address the despite if you go to other cities. Last big example, preemption in election. And this one was about term limits for school board. 2 bills. One, 2022. We previously had no term limits for our school board members. It was up to us as voters to decide if we like them or not. Someone in Tallahassee felt that it was important to limit them to 12 years. That was done in 2 years ago, 2022. And next year, they said that 12 years is still too much. We want 8 years. They hadn't even given it a chance to see how it went. Why I refer to that as preemption? Because it takes the power away from us as voters to decide who we want serving on our school board. Why not let us see some if we want to keep up, get someone? But the rationale for this was consistency. Other offices have term limits, but it's not on the slide. But there was this one move last year, Senator Ingoli, our own senator, he proposed a constitutional amendment that would limit the terms of county commissions to 3 years. Sometimes who were already elected and the new ones. So you would have an 8-year term limit rather than serving for many years, as some of you have. Well, the thing about that, it's different from the school boards because this one at least would go to the Florida Constitution and the voters would decide. But again, it's a decision for the whole district or for the whole state. Some counties already have term limits for their county commissioners. We don't have them. So let me show that preemption because it does go to the voters. Now, it didn't go there this year, but Senator Ingoli said it will be back. And again, what's the rationale and consistency? What's the downside? Why can't we decide who we want? Okay. So, preemption, I'll go through this quickly. Preemption of EV charging stations. That's going into effect. Maxine would be able to tell you more about it. From my point of view, not having studied this deeply, it would seem to me that might be a good thing for us as long as the state has plenty of them and they're placed conveniently. Because when you arrive at traveling, and maybe some of us have electric cars, some of us may have them in the future, we want to be able to go across Florida and find a charging station and we want them all to use the same plug and be available in convenient places. So that uniform handling of complaints against law enforcement. Some counties, some cities did have citizen review boards for controversial decisions by law enforcement. It's all done by the state now, to be consistent. Now, Governor DeSantis did veto this one, a law to prevent local governments from banning gasoline lawnmowers. I don't recall the detail of his decision. And then the legislature also passed preemption of short-term vacation rentals. That's another pro con. If you're the landlord, you want to manage things in a certain way in order to make money, of course. But if you're the rent may not be so good, but the issue is party houses. And so we should decide how these short-term party houses are managed. Well, it's now back to the local municipalities for those things. A bill that failed, it would be preemption, would be telling local municipalities that they can't remove historic monuments that have been around. And of course, the term, again, 20% involve preemption. Okay, so to most of us, the local governments, it seems to make a lot of sense. So why are legislators and it's with it so much? And we've only reviewed a few. I told you there's over 100 in the last 3 years in Florida. Again, not just Florida. So you may ask, who benefits from preemption? Well, it all depends. The legislators always have a rationale. They're not going to make and pass a law that doesn't have a rationale. Some of them are stronger than others. Sometimes powerful lawmakers influence them, perhaps even write the bills. Or industries, as may be the case in the energy bill, gives a lot of favor to natural gas companies. I don't know. But the downside, of course, is who uses or who may use it. Again, there's no right and wrong to all of this. It's something I just wanted you to be aware of. But it does make you wonder, do they know our communities better than we do? Does Miami-Dade have the same interest as citrus? Sometimes, yes. But these are one-size-fits-all bills, whether you're a large metropolitan area or a small town. Well, what they do is they circumvent local decision-making that we entrust to our commissioners, to our city councils. Then it actually ends up handcuffing our local leaders and it blocks them from making decisions that they feel would benefit communities. So, okay, well, no surprise, we can't vote on preemption. You know, that's something our legislators do. But we can let our local officials, such as county commissioners, know how we feel about it. They can't do too much about it either, unfortunately. But they have their ways of lobbying as well. This year, we are voting for a new candidate for the state house. There's a couple, we'll see them in September, along with the incumbent and one challenger for the state senate. So here's some things you can think about. First of all, make your voice heard. But again, these are complicated and I distilled it into a line. I heard that down. Okay. Make your voice heard. Get in touch with your state legislatures, even if you don't know the names or the details of all the bills. Express your opinion. You just follow the news. If those of you who don't get the Chronicle, they do a pretty good job of covering it. So, I rely on emails, the Chronicle, my league groups, etc. Just follow these, and the league does follow bills of around education, voting, etc. Which, by the way, aren't preemptive. With your state legislators, we need local places making local choices and such. I think I got that from the Florida League of Cities. The new candidates, the candidates who aren't in office that you are considering voting for, ask them their feeling, whether they're state, whether they're local, and if they are already in office, ask them to explain their records, why they voted as they did, and they're probably going to give you a good reason. Vote. As we said, local governments have far more influence on our daily lives than is often, recognized, and yet a lot of people aren't voting. This is a perfect opportunity to segue to the fact that we have before you the candidates for Citrus County Board of County Commissioners, and they will be coming out introducing themselves in the order of he just provide 1 and 3, I think. So questions to Maxine and me afterwards, and thank you for your attention. I know I feel like I was teaching a class, but I thought it's kind of work to understand a little bit more. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. I hope that didn't go too long.
Now take out your number 2 pencil, and you can see what it says. You know, somebody hope to be, all of the issues are so complicated. That's why I belong to the League of Women Voters, because there are so many things going on. I can't keep up with that, but the Florida League will keep up with that and let us know. Now we're going to shift to the meet and greet. The League of Women Voters is nonpartisan. That means we do not endorse political candidates. These candidates have accepted the invitation to introduce themselves and talk about their plans. The introductions will be a maximum of 3 minutes long, and I will be timed. And what will I use? The patterns. I will be timing, and I will give you the yellow at 2 minutes. I will give you the red at 3 minutes. And if I show you that's 3, that means your time is up. And if you're not stop at that point, you have a large book that will come and drag you off the city. I would also like to just say that at the forum on Monday, the candidates were wonderful. When they saw that lady, they stopped. Okay. So our first distance is going to the candidates for the first district. We're going to come up and talk to us. And the first one is Paul Michael Rowe. Is he here today? And he's not going to talk to you because he's not here. So our next candidate is Holly Davis. You know she's here. I saw her. In Toastmasters, we have products of it's up to the language.
We're trying to say Dr. Top, I give them notes. Right. Good morning, everyone, and I'm so honored to be here. I'm so honored to have served for almost the last 4 years as the County Commission. I come from, if you ever my background, I joke that I was raised by 3 naval officers. No, I didn't have 3 parents. I had 5 parents. So they came so late in the birth order that my 3 older siblings basically helped raise me. 2 of whom were naval officers as well as my father. So that informs the type of person I am. And if you spend any time getting to know me or work with me, I believe that you will agree with what my friends say about me behind my back. I stand for honesty, integrity, and also straight law. You hear a lot of pandering on the campaign trail. People tell you what you want to hear just to get your vote. Unfortunately, what I have learned the last 4 years is that, as Rosemary said, there is a lot of preemption. There's rule of law. There's personal property rights. There are so many times there is events in my office where I beat my head against the wall trying to solve this thing that just can't solve. So we're just working this law. So there's a lot you can't do, and I will always, I pledge, I will always give you the certainty free, but I will always also work for you. So that comes to my other big mantra in life. Say what you do what you say. On all the important stuff. Do I forget to pick up milk at the grocery store every once in a while when I say I'll do it? Sure. But on the big stuff, you say what you do and then you deliver them. So in 2020, I'm a strategic planner and a marketing communications person by trade, 34 years now, dating myself. I ran on the premise of having the first strategic plan ever for the county. Think about that for a minute. No strategic plan. Is that the 1 minute left? Yeah, 1 minute. When in the last one. That was actually published in the first 2 years in office. And it was citizen-led, not commissioner-led, which I'm very proud of. It birthed a tagline where nature and community thrive. If you're worried about all the growth, just remember 50% of our area can never be developed. It's either water, wetlands, or state forest and park refuge. So what's next? I'm going to rapid fire this. Infrastructure, gotta get ahead of it. Road refueling, moves from being reactive to proactive. Continue good financial stewardship. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're just staying up front, but it does mean the highest value, the highest return on investment of the time. Two things on my wish list: homeless shelter with wraparound services, hand up, not hand out, case management, return them to productive. And the other thing is key land acquisition for environment. Thank you.
It does somehow. Next from District 1, Jack Kennard.
Thank you. And thank you for waiting for hosting it, inviting us out here. Let's start first of all by correcting some things. Everybody, I've said this before at some of these events, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but not their own facts. This nonsense about Citrus County growing unbridled and out of control is nonsense. In 2021, our growth rate is 1.7%. In 22, it was 3.4%. And in 23, it was just over 5%. We're growing actually further than the state of Florida and growing. Are we growing? Yes, but it's not unbridled, it's not unchecked. Where the growth is happening has been planned for decades. Yes, there are developments that have been approved, but those developments have build outs. Pay attention to that part of this, the important detail. The build outs are 20 years, 15 years, just the long run years. So it's not stuff that's going to happen overnight. These are plans that are being set in place. So with that being said, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My beautiful wife over here, Renee, is my high school sweetheart. This past spring, we got married in '93, and this past spring we celebrated our 31st anniversary. We've got two absolutely wonderful children. Our daughter, Casey, graduated with her master's degree. She's now a social worker at Pinellas Park Elementary. And our son, Weston, is graduating from Florida State University and is headed off to chiropractic college next Thursday. So we're very proud of both of them. I think education is important for your elected officials. And I believe that's in part why I was endorsed by the Citrus County Education Association, local education union, interviewing all the candidates, and then made endorsements. I'm proud to have the endorsement. In '93, I graduated from Florida State University with my bachelor's degree in science, where I majored in chemical science. 3 years later, I graduated from Palmer College of Chiropractic, where I graduated with honors and my doctorate of chiropractic. I believe experience is important. I've served on the county commission for almost 8 years now. I've served on a regional water supply authority for almost 8 years now. I've served as chairman of that authority 2 years. I've served 2 years as the chairman of the regional transportation planning board, the Renee Citrus MPO board. I'm proud to have the chiefs from all 4 major conservation groups. Let me say, I've got the support of all 4. I've been endorsed by all 3. I've been endorsed by 3 of them. Save Crystal River, Homeless National River Restoration Project, the Homeless National River Alliance, and the 2-bar organization that is in charge of the project over on the lakes. I've got a terrific resume. I'm going to be your next candidate. I would love to share my vision and my track record with you. I'm going to get the flag here in just a minute, but I do have it on my website, Kennard 2024. I would love to earn your vote. I believe that serves Citrus County my vision very well. Thank you.
Next candidate from District 1 is Travis Flowers.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you guys for having me out this morning. Really morning, which I didn't get stuff today. But as always, I appreciate you guys coming out and seeing me have this Citrus County. Briefly about me, my name is Chris Bryan, I'm sitting by CJ. It's following on Facebook, I have a group, so there's no confusion there to the about two different meetings. I was moved down here in Citrus County in 1991 with my grandparents. I lived here, went to school here, graduated Citrus High School, moved off to college, graduated Florida Southern College in 2004 with a degree in marketing. Moved up here, got married, started a photography business with my wife, which we still own and operate today through Crystal River. So I'm pretty much a lifelong Citrus County resident. I decided to run this cycle because I'm afraid of what Citrus County is going to look like in the future. We all moved here for certain reasons. Most of us, love the rural atmosphere that we have in Citrus County, the rural environment, and we're afraid of what that's going to look like years down the road. Dr. Crown over there already said that, 5% growth rate. What he didn't calculate was what that growth rate looks like in 14 years. In 14 years with 5% growth rate, Citrus County population doubles. We're 171,000 people now, because it's over 300,000 people. What's also neglected with this growth is we get a lot of state funds for things like road resurfacing. We use state money to help us resurface some of the roads and build out some of those roads. That money disappears once we get 200,000 residents. We lose that state money. It's called the SCOT funding. Based on that 5% calculation, we hit that number in 4 years. Over 200,000 people in Citrus County, so we lose that state money. And for years, most of us have driven around Citrus County and realized the roads are for maintenance. We need a lot of focus on those roads. So if we lose that state funding, then we've got to come up with more taxpayer dollars to do that. So my main thing for this election is we want to make sure that we actually get the roads service. We've been talking about it for years and years and years. Being conservative is more than just saving money on taxes and keeping taxes as low as possible. It's also maintaining the things that we've had currently. Infrastructure is a big priority for me in Citrus County, making sure that we actually get these roads done. Another thing about focus is all this growth. We talked about it a little bit. We don't need to approve huge family complexes, things of that nature. What we need is affordable housing. Citrus County has 360,000 acres of property. There's only 201 acres dedicated for hybrids and residential. So we need to look at ways to expand that, and that's something the comprehensive plan. So my name is Curtis Bryant. I look forward to speaking to you guys. If you have any questions, I'm back here in the corner. You guys all have all my cards. There's information on the website as well. So hopefully you're voting on August. Thank you.
Next are our candidates from District 3. And the first one to come up here is Ruby Davis. No, that's also actually, we can when somebody comes up, yeah, sometimes when somebody really needs it, it's kind of walk up slowly.
Down the line, a little bit, I got caught in the rains, which was people. Yeah. Well, for inviting me here today, we had a busy week. And it's my pleasure to be here. And I just want to say that I'm 8 of 9. I'm a girl's girl, so I love your group. I have 4 sisters, and they mean the world to me. And I think women are our future. So I don't know if I want to say it. But anyway, so I'm playing ball. I'm a native Floridian. I have 89 children. My parents were, my dad was a World War II Air Force, the Army Air Force pilot. My mom was an RA. Like I said, I have lived in Florida my whole life. I lived in Citrus County for 31 years. I'm a mother to 20 daughters. Julia graduated from FSU and also graduated from University of Florida with a global communications in her master's. Her twin, Catherine, since she was at Georgia Tech, aerospace engineering. She's a lieutenant in the Space Force. I'm very proud of the girls. I'm a business owner, 31 years. And I'm also a commissioner. Learned a lot in these last 4 years of what we can and cannot do. And I really appreciated, about Tallahassee and that they believe they know what is best for us. But I don't believe they do.
So I spent the last 6 years, 4 of them in office, getting to know our leaders in Tallahassee. I don't always agree with them, but Governor DeSantis, I worked on his campaign. I have a relationship with his office. I have a relationship with Lieutenant Governor Nunez. I am a big fan and was endorsed by Wilton Simpson, who is our Commissioner of Ag now. He's gotten us tens of millions of dollars for citrus talent. I said that because that's important, because this board is just reaching the momentum. We need to continue this. This is not the time to change this board. And I need 4 more years. I've got to get the animal shelter done, working on the Inverness industrial business part. We have to get jobs to Citrus County. When my twins left, they were like, bye, there's nothing here for them. We need to get quality jobs here, and this board is working on that. We budgeted and upgraded our roads and public transportation system, making it more accessible and safer. We have worked as a priority of your concerns and listened to your feedback. That's very important to this board. Working on projects providing suitable housing for all in income levels. That's important. We need workforce housing. My name is Ruthie Davis Slabaugh. I'm going to vote on August 20th to continue our, thank you. It's some Phillips.
And from District 3, Janet Bennett. Better, doing better.
Most of you know my name is Janet Bear. I am running to this office, not my family. I am married, 52 years. I have 3 children. I have 9 grandchildren and 9 grandchildren. They do their thing and I'm doing mine. I have done a lot of things in this county since I moved here. I was president for Citrus County Council when legal renewables was restarting and Kate Bexel was in charge. Some of you remember Kate, and I'm sure that Maxine remembers Kate. So I have known about legal time. It's a wonderful organization. Now, why am I running? I'm tired of going to meetings. I've been going since about 2010. I go once a month, twice a month, whatever it is. Sometimes I'm on, but I do read the agendas, I do read the backups, and then I ask questions. And I question some of the things that the county commissioners are doing. One of the things I questioned was the MSTU. Yesterday was really nice because the commission decided not to follow through the MSTU for this year. And it made me feel really good because I have said from day one, MSTU is not what we want our taxpayers to be paying. Okay, that's one reason I'm running. One of the other reasons is because I think we need more people listened to. If you are a citizen and you have questions, you need to be heard and you need to be listened to. And if you have questions, your questions should be answered. If they're good and reasonable questions, we can follow through. Just like any parent. Parents tell their kids what to do. I put my kids and they grew up relatively in second children, each have their own, each have their own families. I don't have any living at my, okay? So it's very nice. Okay, but besides that, I would like it to be more a community where you can know, you ask a question, someone's gonna follow through and answer it. And maybe say no. When it comes to voting, if I think it's not going to be beneficial to the community or the citizen, they will probably be the one saying no. Maybe one people say yes. I'm gonna say no. What if it's a good idea? I really am gonna push it and say, this is why we should be doing this. This is why the taxes have to go up. Because some things have to change. And sometimes we have to spend a little bit more money to get our needs of the county now, but our needs. And residential roads is my topic that I've been doing for years. Please vote for me or for me. This number, this guy residents, the city's lawyers, and I appreciate everything you can do. Thank you.
Let me have a round of applause for all the candidates. And thank you for coming. Please go ask questions. This is your opportunity to be heard.
May I just say something?
No.
No. It's time to have this meeting.
Okay, everybody, I think it's something.
Share us then, thank you.
And thank you for coming today.